So today we're going to run a screening pew matrix. The purpose of a screening pew matrix is to select a few ideas out of many ideas. And the first step into setting up your screening pew matrix is to list all of your design criteria on the left-hand side of the table.
Next, you need to list all of your distinct solutions along the top of the table. We've selected these 6 solutions, which came out of our morph chart, to be the ones that we want to run through this screening pew matrix.
So we want to systematically choose which solution is better than the other. So to compare solutions, we first have to set a standard. So we're going to go ahead and choose one of these solutions, the flat grater with the soap moving flat grater, and that will be our standard. Usually, it will be the standard is set to a product that already exists. But in our case, since our product does not exist, we're taking it based off of what we think is most done commonly.
Next, what you want to do is you want to evaluate the rest of your solutions based off of the standard. So for example, if we think the flat moving grater is easier to use than the flat soap moving grater, we would put a plus. Likewise, if we think the pepper grinder is harder to use than the soap moving flat grater, we would put a minus. And finally, if we think the soap moving peeler is about the same to use as a soap moving flat grater, we would put a 0.
Once you've filled out the whole chart for each of the different categories, you're going to sum the bottom rows and then rank them against each other.
We should fill out the whole chart now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those three
Okay.
are. So I think the peeler personally would be easier.
Okay.
And then the cylindrical cheese grater I think would be easier to use since it would just be a crank.
Okay. Sorry?
Easily refillable, I guess. How do you
I
feel?
think it would be about the same.
Yeah.
Now that we've filled out the whole chart, we can move on to the next step, which is summing up each of the individual columns to see how they compare to each other.
So I guess based off of these scores, we can kind of rank them in terms of the flat graters seem to rank the most positives. So 1, then came the cylindrical cheese grater, next the peeler,
And
the flat grater, which was our standard, came in 4th, and then below the standard were pepper grinder and soap moving peeler. So now that we've kind of reflected on these and give them ranking, what we have to do is we have to select a couple of these to move forward with for further screening.
I think keeping the top 4 and to move on to further
Anything
evaluation.
above the standard.
Yeah.
Anything
is
above
good
the
enough
standard.
to move on. So we have the flat grater with the soap moving, the peeler with the peeler moving, the cylindrical cheese grater, and the flat grater with the moving grater to move on into our next
Or
scoring
scoring
matrix.
right?
Yeah.